y'all, it's Miss Ponte. Hey, hi, Brownie. Say hi. Hey, y'all. We're going to do student workbook, page 15, module 4, lesson 3. Top of the page, I want you to write our shortcut. Is over of equals percent over 100. You have to memorize this because it's not on the FSA reference sheet. You have to memorize it. So all the shortcuts can be for nothing if you don't memorize it. All right, let's do number 2. Dang it. I forgot to flip the phone again. At Kent Middle School, there are 104 students in the band and 180 students in the choir. What percent of the number of students in the choir is the number of students in the band? Now, it's harder to find the is, the of, the percent, and 100 today because they're throwing in a lot of words to go with it. Okay, so you need to first look. Let's go ahead and put, let's go ahead and write is, of, equals percent, 100. It says, what percent of what percent? So you don't know the percent. That's going to be our variable. So that's going to be the easy part. What percent of the number of students in the choir? All is one big chunk of information. Is the number of students in the band. So here's our word is, and here's our word of. So let's take of the number of students in the choir. So of is, but you have to go back to the sentence before and see, well, there's not a number right by the of, so go back and see of the number of students in the choir. The choir was 80. So of the number of students in the choir, of was 80. Now go to the yellow. Is the number of students in the band. You wish they would have said is and then put the number of students in the band for you. Is 104, but they didn't. You have to take this sentence and say, they didn't tell us what the is. You got to go back to the sentence before and say, how much is the number of students in the band? So you're going back to the sentence before and looking for number of students in the band. That will be your is. So go back and find number of students in the band. That's what you're looking for. You got to go back to the previous sentence. So 104 is the number of students in the band. All right, now we're going to set it up. It says what percent. So that's our variable. Remember, we don't leave it a question mark anymore. You make it a variable. You can use a y. You can use an x. That's our unknown. Now this is a proportion. Fraction, equal sign, fraction. Remember how we saw proportions. Cross multiply both ways should be equal to each other. That's a rule. They have to be equal to each other. So you're going to say those two multiplied together have to equal those two multiplied together. That's why it says they're in proportion to each other. They're equal to each other. So you're going to say 104 times is his diagonal partner equals 80 times his diagonal unknown partner. I'm going to change it to a y because I like y better. Because sometimes if I use x, I start thinking that means a multiply. So I'm going to use a y. Next row, you guys know how to do this. We're actually going to multiply these two guys together equals 80y. After you get your answer, you say, well, I still haven't isolated my variable. My variable still isn't by itself. That 80 is beside it. So what's the opposite of a times 80? Divide 80. So I want you to finish this problem. I have it laid out for you. You're going to multiply those two guys together. This is an equation now. You're solving an equation for y. Okay? You go ahead and finish that one. You may want to push pause because I'm getting ready to go to the next problem. Okay, at Kent Middle School, breakfast costs $1.25 and lunch costs $3.75. What percent of the cost of lunch is the cost of breakfast? This is very similar to the one right above it. You're going to put is of equals percent over 100. Let's go to the sentence. At Kent Middle School, breakfast costs $1.25 and lunch costs $3.75. What percent? So that's our unknown. What percent? They're not telling us any percent. So I'm going to go ahead and put Y is my unknown. What percent of the cost of lunch is the cost of breakfast? And again, you wish they would say of 45 or something like that. Before, in the lesson before, they said of like 45 or something. They gave the number right after the word of. But this time you have to go searching for what is the cost of lunch. So, what percent of, come back over here and look at the cost of lunch is. So, what percent of the cost of lunch, there's the cost of lunch, of the cost of lunch. Let me use this orange, $3.75. Is the cost of breakfast. You got to go back and search for what the is. The cost of breakfast. Go back and find what the cost of breakfast is. Breakfast costs $1.25. So that would go right here. But they made you go looking for it. So your is $1.25. We talked about this the other day. The part, well, we're not even going to talk about that. We're going to use the shortcut. Is a percent 100. But we'll talk about it more in class. We're just practicing how to do the shortcut right now. So now you have an equation. You need to say the diagonal partners multiplied together will equal the diagonal partners multiplied together going this way. And then solve the equation exactly like you did that one. When you get used to the number 80, don't think, oh, next time I'm going to divide by 80. No. It'll be different numbers every time. Sometimes you're going to get used to 100 and you're going to think, oh, we're talking about percent, so I'm always going to be dividing by 100. No. You're dividing by whatever is the diagonal partner to your unknown. So I'm not going to set this one up for you. You're going to do it almost exactly like that one. Whatever you get when you multiply diagonally this way, write it down, equal sign. Whatever you get when you multiply diagonally this way, write it down. Next row, actually multiply them together. Other side of the equal sign. 3.75 will be squished next to the y, which means multiply. Then you're going to say, I have to isolate my variable. What's keeping my y from being by itself? Oh, I have to get rid of that 3.75. This is an equation. I'm solving for y. So these are your two problems for today. They're going to be worth a lot of points. I'm not even going to tell you how many. And you will have a Khan Academy lesson that goes with this. Remember, all of your Khan Academy lessons are going to be cleared out because they should have been done by midnight. So you're going to have new Khan Academy lessons. Okay, these are your two problems, and that's all. Love y'all. Bye.